I don't know if you have a chapter on it, but I kind of made a list of the self-referential contradictions that they get into, and I made a list of them, like, there is no truth. Well, there's a truth statement. Or we need strict morality to eliminate morality. Or, to assure individual rights, we have to collectivize. And they're just a series of these claims that are direct contradictions. I guess my question is America waking up to this? And what are the consequences of this kind of, it's an Orwellian trait.
It is Orwellian, and I think everyday Americans. So at the end of 2020, when everybody was wearing a Faucian mask and we're keeping a safe distance, 6 feet away from each other, I started to travel. I started to travel the United States. In 2021, I visited about 30 cities. I came close to that, I think 23 cities in 2022. I have visited fewer cities this year, 2023, but I'm getting ready to travel again, I think, in 2024. And what I discovered was everyday Americans of all the categories, really upset by this. They were revolting against the idea that our children had to be used as cannon fodder in this culture war, that they were playing the privilege game with little children, separating them by race, or the fact that the office, whether a workplace, either an office or a factory floor, had been turned over into Gramscian struggle sessions. Gramsci was the one that came up with the idea that because the worker, like the family, like the country, like the private property, and like God, he had to be constantly introduced to these struggle sessions in the workplace, on the factory floor, with new ideas, where he would be indoctrinated into dislike of all these things. Well, everyday Americans did not know who Antonio Gramsci was, but they rightly saw through their common sense and through their reason that these things were struggle sessions, even though they didn't call them struggle sessions, that they were alien to their way of life. And they said no, and they turned out in the streets and complained. I actually visited Loudon County early on. I spoke to a large group there in June 2021 outside the government building, and in the county seat. And then as I traveled the country, and I told them that I had been in Loudon County, everyone knew that where Loudon County was. And people use the same expression, ground zero. Loudon County is ground zero. Loudon County, Virginia, which is really an hour and a half away from here, is ground zero for this revolution, this new American revolution. I even visited Europe, and I spoke to groups in Europe. And in Barcelona, Spain, they talked to me about Loudon County. It became an international thing. So I think that we are beginning to and one of the reasons for this reaction is the contradictions. We're supposed to, a linear Western mind, and yes, we do have a linear Western mind in this country, as part of the American worldview, is supposed to experience system shutdown when faced with a contradiction. Contradiction is race is a social creation, and yet race is the most important thing in the world. That is, you're supposed to say, well, hang on, okay, well, I'm going to have to stop there and work through because that's not logical. That's not a good syllogism. So I'm going to stop and work that out before I continue to the next step. And that's what Americans did in their mind.
You certainly cannot have the rule of law if every rule is a contradiction.